welcome back, baseball fans. 1972-75 Carryover League card set analysis, and we are into a new box tonight. We are into the 1973 box here. Year 2 in the timeline. Here's your copy of the roster sheet. Always says the following year here. So we have the of course the roster sheet here, and of course the league has already been sorted into the 32 teams and 640 players with nameless cards written in already, and we've got all players available for the draft here, and then of course you would end up having a bunch of extra cards, guys who haven't been in the league yet, plus you got guys who've been on waivers or retirement previous years, and you got the nameless cards, of course, guys handwritten into the league just to get to the proper number, though I don't actually play games with these cards. They're like placeholders letting me know, oh, this team needs a lefty reliever, let's give them this guy, even though we're not actually going to play any games with those cards. So these are already been set up. This is the 1973 season. They've already been set up after the league has comported to the proper number of keep, waive, and retires. Been following that series since the off season. Everyone has made transactions. Everybody's happy to go into a draft, which won't be for quite some time, so more trades can still happen. But everybody has at least 2 players that they're going to retire, 2 they're going to put on waivers, 4 they want to keep, and of course the 12 guys in a future season. So in each stack, we're going to take a look at the keepers. They might not have the total number because sometimes a player could miss a year in the 4-year timeline. He's being kept for one of those 4 years, and maybe not all 4. Does he have a card? And the waiver pool here may have 2 guys. And of course, a retired player just means that he's not very good if we see one. And then of course we'll have the we will have players that are already in the league with their 12 cards from the year 72, 73, and 74. Obviously 73 is right here. So we'll see, if we see a player in here, it means that we have a 72 or 74 card in the league, and I'll kind of show you that. We begin with Baltimore. And Baltimore, we'll start with their 4 keepers. Mark Belanger could be this one. We want him as a 1. Don't really care about the batting average for Baltimore. He hits 226 here. We have Lee May, who they acquired in the Big Joe Morgan deal that was like a 16-player trade. Remember, we decided that the Houston Astros did not want to receive Lee May back for Joe Morgan in that deal because they had Bob Watson at first base. So Baltimore stepped in, you see, and said, well, we'll take this guy now as a slightly younger player and get a little more pop out of him. And here's Brooks, 73 Brooks. He's going to be a 1 at third base. The batting average isn't that good there. 256 isn't bad. And Earl Williams, this is a Baltimore card after his Atlanta tenure is finished. Still has 22 homers. If you see a card upside down like that, that means they put him on waivers. It's Rick Reichert, who they got in an off-season deal. Now, he's on waivers, not property of Baltimore, but he's going to be in the waiver list, and this is not a bad card, really, for a waivered player, corner outfielder. And if you see the card flipped over like this, it means we retired him. You might be able to indicate that by looking at his stats. That's what a retired player looks like. I mean, his card still exists, but it has no practical value in the league when you get knocked around. So we cover them up like that. And then lastly, we have all the cards that are in there. Baltimore traded for Baylor Moore to replace Dave McNally on the short side of things. Not with these cards, of course. They have 72 cards, as with Tom Hutton. Cuellar 72, Pappas 72, and you have Grich 74 and Blair 74. And that's how that works. We're going to go through the American League East and the American League North tonight. Boston. All right, so Steve Blass they acquired from Pittsburgh, but not for this year. As you can tell, It's already over for Steve by 73. Yeah. But it's going to be the 72 blast card that the Red Sox want to get. Petrocelli this is a 3. Oh, he's still a 2 at third base. That's nice. Rick Wise has a few nice cards here for the Red Sox and Cardinals. Pitches on 3 days rest here. Roger Moret still does not have a spot in rotation yet. We could make him a lefty reliever. That'd be a nice... Anytime I see a lefty, my thought always looks over here. Can you get lefties out? Let's stash you in the bullpen. But we don't really need him to start for this team. Larry Stahl is on waivers. He's not... Yeah, he's pretty much near the end of his rope there. Mike Andrews finally is retired because he's only hitting 200. Yeah. Could still get into the league. When a guy gets retired, you can still get into the league, though. It doesn't look... Percentages aren't very good. Okay. And then you have players Griffin, Fisk, Tiant, Evans, and Miller. They all have cards in the league presently. Griffin, Fisk, Tiant, 72. Evans and Miller, 74. Those cards are in the league. Next, let's move on to the Yankees. A lot of these teams made a lot of deals in the offseason. Mercer, 71 cards finally finished. Got a couple nice cards coming up. He's got 26 homers, but doesn't hit 372. Here he hits 300 with the power. And the defense. You know, you got Elliot Maddox as a 1 in center field as well. Here's Greg Nettles. We probably don't want him as a 3. Get him as a 1 or 2 in a different year. Roy White, always looking for some speed, on base, base running ability. His throwing arm's terrible, of course. That's a good looking 246. Look at the plate appearances. Probably led all of baseball in plate appearances in 73. And Mel Stottlemyre can steal deal. Starter 8. That's okay. That's a nice little player right there. 16, 307, 273 innings. Horace Clark to put on waivers. You're probably wondering, well, he's a Yankee, right? Yeah, sure, he's a Yankee. And he's okay. He's a 263 hitter. So, he's on waivers. Well, they probably got a handshake deal saying, hey, if nobody claims you, you're welcome to come back to New York. And if not, they could probably find a comparable second baseman. What's his defense? Oh, he's a 4, and he only plays second base. That's like the death knell right there. If you're only a second baseman and you're a 4 at doing it, it's not very useful in my opinion. Got to play a little bit of short in there if you can. And then they have the 72 Chambliss card they got from Cleveland. Dick Billings, Sparky Lyle, Kendall, McAndrew, Maddox, and Michael. They got these cards in a different year. And lastly in the East, then I'll take a tiny break here. We'll go to the Blue Jays. The darlings of the summer of 2023, the Toronto Blue Jays. Pretty active in the trading offseason as well. So AG, still trying to run this guy back. Corner as a 2. Power against righty on base. Better against righty than lefty. Probably more of a platoon card here. I think he's got a good 72 card, but you can see he's getting pretty past his prime. Now they traded for Ed Kranepool, another former Met. Where do old Mets go? In this case, Toronto. Actually, if Toronto would have existed in this timeline, the Mets might have traded him there instead of holding on to Kranepool. A lifetime New York Met, Ed Kranepool. Trivia question. So there you go. Not this year. He's got a really good 74 and 75 where he gets close to 300. Not this year. This Milt May will probably make it. Nice batting average here. He's got like a 289 card in one of these years. 269 here. 7 home runs. And always had that ability to hit left-handed pitching. Love it when a left-handed catcher can hit lefties. Very valuable. Clyde Wright's a starter 8. Put a pretty good card here. Pitches on 3 days rest with a 3.68 ERA. Did it with the Angels. Nice card. Nice players to select from for Toronto. Hal Lanier goes on waivers. He's a utility player, and he's just a guy, as we like to say. Yvonne Morel had to be on retirement because he couldn't go on waivers with his without a 72 card. So he can come out of retirement, and actually this is a pretty nice card, with power at least, and good defense. So you could bring this dude out of retirement. And then Rorik Harrison and Foley and Alexander have 72 cards. Carl Morton and Darrell Cheney have 74 cards. For your Toronto Blue Jays. All right, we'll take a little break, and then we'll get into the exciting American League North. All right, let's take a look at the American League North, beginning with the Expos. Very active in the offseason. Their keepers, Ron Hunt, still the hit-by-pitch machine, but a nice batting average with it. His defense is shot. But dude hits .309 with 14 doubles and a bunch of hit-by-pitches. But still, you got to love the card because, you know, anytime you get hit by pitches, they always seem to exaggerate those a little bit. You end up getting more bang for your buck. Bill Stoneman has a good 72, but by 73, he is pretty much done. That's not very good. I won't take that card. Steve Ranko, though, he's just in the middle of his Expo tenure here. Pitches on 3 days rest with this card. This is the card you take. Expo's going to have some great pitching because they're also going to have this guy they got from Baltimore. Wally still has some juice. So instead of making the trade for Singleton when this guy is way too old, McNally's got a good 72 and 73 card with Baltimore. You get 2 decent years out of this guy. Actually, he's okay in 74. Boots Day has been put on waivers, but he'll get into the league. Center fielder with a minus arm, platoon player with power, no speed anymore. Hits about 277. That's not a bad card. And then they have Bacabella, Walker, Alou, and Stanton with 72 cards, and Jorgensen with a 74 card. Next up, the Clevetown Indians, trying to catch up to the Tigers, made some moves to attempt to catch up. Made a big move with Baltimore to get Boog Powell because of his 75 Cleveland card. And besides Baltimore, they have to move through some first basemen. They have to get Lee May and then Eddie Murray. So it's time for Boog to take a step aside. And Boog Powell goes to Cleveland. This is an okay card. Okay, it's okay, 73. But the 75 Cleveland Boog Powell card is what they'll take. You want a -3 arm catcher? Ray Fosse. And the other thing is, see that? Keep him away from the dynasty. Why let Oakland have a dynasty? Hold on to him, Cleveland. That's what they'll do. Ray Lamb pitched out of the bullpen a year ago. Here he can only pitch out of the bullpen. A righty who gets lefties out of the bullpen. Don't like the walks there, but that's still a decent card. It's 460. That's because he's getting hammered over here, I guess, but might make it. Fritz. Fritz is, does he pitch on the rotation here? Nobody does in 72. He's a Yankee here, but he gets dealt to Cleveland. Eddie Leon was put on waivers. They could invite him back for defensive prowess. And then you have Pinson and Duffy and Duke Sims, Tidrow, Bell, Perry, all in 72 cards, with Jim Perry and Oscar Gamble into 74 cards. Next up, your Tigers went to the World Series. Can they get younger, or do they need to get younger? Is the question to ask. Take a look at this, folks. 400-year-old Norm Cash can still put that foot in the bucket and crush that ball. Can he not, folks? My goodness. 19 bombs in half a season here. Can't hit lefties anymore. About time. About time that he can't hit lefties. So that's all right. He just destroys righties now. Al Kaline's probably 50 years old here. He's a 2-2 in right field. Unreal defensively. He's not very good against righties anymore with this card. So they might take his 72 where he's still hitting 300. Oh, here's a great defensive center fielder. Mickey Stanley. Hits righties better than lefties for the first time in a while. This would be a nice card to get into. I'm always wanting the guys to hit better against righties because you face more of them. Be hit and runner, always useful. If you can't hit and run. My motto. 17 bombs. That's kind of sneaky, isn't it? Oh, I guess they're there. I guess there's a lot of plate appearances, too. Yeah, 17 and 650. And Joe Coleman, starter 8. 23-game winner. I'm telling you, these Tigers, they have the fountain of youth in Detroit. Don't know what it is. Not much different from 1968, really. You know, the guys they want to keep, and yeah, you get the idea. We'll see more of those. They're going to waive Pete Broberg, they acquired in a trade. And he's just an okay guy going on waivers. Fred Sherman was a very good lefty setup guy. They have no more room for him. He'll get taken in the draft, but notice that he's getting knocked around now by righties. So he's pretty much just situational now. 423 ERA. Gates Brown goes on the retirement list because nobody really wanted him. They didn't have a spot for him in Detroit. They tried to trade him. Nobody wanted him. Too many guys were already on the waiver list. And this Gates Brown, obviously, he can do only situational power versus righties with not much power, or yeah, 236. But this is an okay card, but in a league as competitive as mine, he's gonna have a hard time coming out of retirement with that one. And look at your familiar Tigers here. You got Bill Freehan and Stevenson in 70, and Lolich in a 72 card, Timmerman in a 72 card. And then you have Willie Horton in a 74 card. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. These Tigers, man, they are a hard out, a tough out. And the last team tonight we'll do is the Ohio Players. Fun to look at this team because we know they have the first pick of the draft, which it's not a big secret. It's going to be Vita Blue. But let's take a look at their keepers. Ike Brown, what a fun card. And look, he can catch now. You could put him in there behind. They don't value catching. Most of the time their catchers are 4+2 arms. They don't care about defense and all that sort of stuff. But Ike Brown, look at the walks and the power there. It's a fun card for Ike. 289, small sample. Orlando Cepeda, he's like 64 years old here. It's amazing. Full-time DH, goes back to the American League and hits what? Look at this. DH. 20 homers, 289 for the Red Sox. What a way to finish up a Hall of Fame career, huh? And then you got Vita Blue. Now, is it going to be this one? You got 4 cracks. He'll be the first pick in your draft because of name recognition. Remember, he's the 1971 American League Most Valuable Player. They traded for his star power. I like to make the first pick in the draft really flashy, and boy, Vita Blue is certainly flashy. This card is a 20-game winner with pitching on 3 days rest. He was hurt in 72. So, yeah, get this card in the league. The whip, you know, the walks and the hits and all that and the home runs, they're not fantastic, you know. I don't think he might be top 5 Cy Young, maybe obviously top 10. But you had Palmer and Catfish Hunter and Gaylord Perry, others having great years in 73. Doc Ellis, Pirates, wish they had him. 12-game winner, 192 innings. Sonny Jackson, they put on waivers. They couldn't figure out, do you want to play shortstop? Do you want to play center field? Do you want to do neither? What's your deal? It's somebody else's job to figure that out. Left-handed bat, gets on base with walks. Still a C-stealer, B-hit runner. He'll get picked up in the league by somebody. Johnny Jeter used to hit 320. Not anymore. 241 for John Jeter. And he'll go on waivers. Can he field? Oh, he can field. He's a 2-2. This card gets in the league simply because of the great outfield defense. Elrod Hendricks was put in retirement with a 178 batting average. Is there a happy split involved? You know, for a 178 hitter, that's not a bad split when you look at the homer there, right? And the double there. And being a zero-arm catcher with power and batting left-handed. Yeah, it's a long shot to get a 178 hitter in the league. But again, catcher, left-handed, power, zero arm. That's what gets in the league, folks. All right, Ohio. They have the 72 Tom Hall, who was dominant for the Cincinnati Reds in their World Series quest. Rudy May. Gene Klein's hitting 330. Daryl Thomas as a utility player. Dave Cash hitting close to 300 in his 74 card, along with George Hendrick. So, actually, it's a pretty bright future for this team. I mean, he's not going to be around long, nor is he. But Vida Blue and Doc Ellis will be around a long time, along with Rudy May and Dave Cash, George Hendrick. So, yeah. You also have Dan Driesen on this team. So, Ohio, you know, they're not going to just sit around and kick dirt on them. They're going to play competitive. This is going to be a fun division next year. Expos retooled. Cleveland got a lot better. Detroit's running back the same old cast, and you saw Ohio. So, that's it tonight. Did the American League East and the North. We'll finish up the rest of the American League, Midwest, and West next week. We'll see you then. Thanks for checking out the card set analysis for 1973. I think it's written here somewhere. Oh, yeah. There we go. Boom, right on the outside of the box. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.